Hey everybody, I'm Monique.
And I'm Paige.
And we are
Sacred Potential,
where we explore the overlap of creativity, spirituality, and possibility.
And today's episode is about thoughts. And what do thoughts turn into? Words. Thoughts and words and how they affect our lives. Mm-hmm. Do we have any example? Obviously, we all know. Some of us actually are maybe not that aware, that conscious, how much your thoughts and your words affect your daily life, your day-to-day life, and in a good way and or a bad way. Yep. So let's talk about some of the good ways in which thoughts and words could potentially affect your life, Mo.
So first of all, one of the first things is becoming aware of your thoughts. A lot of times we're just so involved in our lives. There's so much going on. We're not even aware of what we're thinking. We're not aware of what we're muttering under our breath.
Yes.
Or, just the things that are just like a constant flow of things going on. Mm-hmm. So this is where it can be really helpful to just get really still and get really quiet and pray, meditate. And again, when we talk about meditation, we're talking about meditating on something specific. So because what you fix your thoughts on is going to determine where your life is. It's going to determine where your state of mind is for the day or for the week possibly.
Yes.
So the sooner you can get a hold of your thoughts, the better. The sooner you can identify what's going on. And if there's thoughts that you're having that you start realizing certain thoughts are just they're not really conducive to the life that you really want to be living. Yeah. Write it down. Write down like these are things that you're thinking. Get it out. This is, where journaling comes in really handy to just get it out on paper and identify what it is.
Oh, that's very therapeutic, actually. Mm-hmm. I'm learning during this video as well.
and you can, so basically, like, let's say you have a thought that's let's something to do with fear or anxiety or insecurity, something. Let's start with that. Something to do with insecurity or low self-worth. And you're questioning yourself, or you're feeling like, let's say you're going for a job, or you're going to meet somebody new that I don't know, maybe you're dating or something, and you start thinking, they're not going to like me. And you start thinking about all the things about yourself, either for the job or for another person that you think are just not enough. And maybe that's what you identify is not, you feel like you're not enough. And identify it. And then start giving yourself evidence, because it's there, if you look for it, that is not true. Start, looking around your life. And if you need to get someone else involved that is really encouraging, like someone like this, then someone like Paige, who is really encouraging, talk to somebody and have somebody else tell you what they see in you. Because sometimes we don't see ourselves clearly. Yeah. That's a whole other video. But basically get a hold of those thoughts, but identify what's going on. Yes. Get it out of here so that you can look at it and go, okay, that's not pleasant, but until it's acknowledged, it's very hard to do anything about it. So acknowledge it's going on, and then find a different way of looking at it. Find a different way of looking at yourself, of looking at your situation, and find evidence, because you will find whatever evidence you're looking for, you will find it. Wow. If you're looking for evidence that you're the worst person that was ever born, you will find it.
That's very true.
And if you're looking for evidence that you're a beautiful person, that you're worthy of love and good things, then you will find that as well.
What's that thing, that like game that Tony Robbins played, where it's kind of like, okay, look around the room and look for all of the like red objects in the room, and then after he says, look for all the red objects, try to count as many as you can, and then he says, okay, close your eyes, now tell me all the white objects you saw in the room. And it's just kind of like, you didn't say to look for white objects. So it's kind of like, just like what Mo said, it's like, if you are focused on something, that is kind of essentially what you will find.
Yeah.
So if you're consistently thinking, oh, I'm no good enough, people don't like me, da 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 da, and it's like anything someone can say, it's like all of a sudden you're going to dissect it and be like, well, this is what they meant. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is really interesting. Like, honestly, I did not even think about like actually writing things down and like getting them out in that way, but that's really helpful. Very therapeutic. Okay. So I would also say in terms of your thought patterns can also be formed based on what you're taking in, what you're watching, also maybe what you're listening to. I know that, just certain songs maybe that I remember there was this show, the Chris Rock. He was like talking about like, sometimes the girls are at the club and they're like dancing to like certain songs and like the lyrics are just not really all that appropriate. And then it's like, and then you'll be like, are you listening to this song? It's like, he's not talking about me. And then you just like, but that's where a subconscious thing starts to come into play, because it's like that stuff can leak its way. And it doesn't even seem like really, come on, that's getting too deep. But it actually is a thing in terms of what our brains can actually pick up and register without our knowledge. It's crazy. I mean, think about the things you dream about. And it's just kind of like, wait, where did this dream come from?
Well, I can tell you regarding music that I was a very different person when I was listening to heavy metal.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it's like, there's an influx of messages that we're getting all the time. And that can be anything. It could be, you could, again, like just as an example, you could be feeling great. You wake up in the morning, you're feeling like, oh, it's a beautiful day. And then you turn on the computer or the news or the television. Well,
Instagram.
And all of a sudden you start seeing all this bad news in the world. I'm just saying in terms of news. And then suddenly you're 15 minutes later, you're feeling really down. And it's not to say you shouldn't pay attention to what's going on in the world, but just to put all your focus on something. Choose where you're putting your focus. And which leads us to how this turns into our words. Because a lot of times the things that we're replaying in here, or that we're thinking, or that we're feeling all the time, we start speaking those words, or in worst case scenario, writing them on social media. There are people who they and again, everybody's in a different place going through difficult things. Sometimes spewing things on social media is a way to kind of vent this other stuff that's going on that's deeper. And
there's a safety in doing that, because no one can really see you sometimes. So it's like everybody is, what do they call it? Like the brave, like somebody behind the keyboard. I can't remember the term that's used, but it's like, it's amazing how much braver we are when we're like behind.
When no one sees you.
Yeah, but it's like, say that to my face, kind
No, but I was talking also not even about that kind of stuff, but I mean also about things like, if somebody's going through a hard time, I think there's a time and a place for needing support and wanting to feel supported by a community of people. But sometimes people can get stuck there, and just that becomes their story. Their story is that these terrible things are happening. And no matter what's going on, we just want to encourage you that no matter what's going on in your life, you could be going for a long time through some challenges, but you can also start shifting what you're going through by the words that you're speaking, because it will help you, even if you're still going through a challenge, it will help you be stronger in the challenge until you get to a better time and a better place in your life. And you're the one that's also dictating getting to that place. Unless you are in captivity or something like that. And even then, you can still change your inner state by the words you speak and what you're thinking about.
Life and death are in the power of the tongue. It's really interesting. And it is a very intentional, that's really the word, intentional, in terms of you have to be purposeful in terms of what you're doing. Because again, it's not necessarily, especially when you're used to, not having the best thoughts or speaking not so well of yourself or other people, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to immediately come out of. It's a gradual thing. It's kind of like,
and I can testify to that.
Yeah, I usually kind of think, I always put things in terms of like the form of working out, like exercising and things like that. It's kind of like, if you want a specific body, if you want a specific look, a specific way of being healthy, it's like you're not going to necessarily, or you're not really going to do it for a week and then expect to see results. It's a gradual thing, and it's not something that you're ever going to stop. It's consistent. It's something you have to work on daily. That's the thing. And I think that's probably the thing that makes one most tired, because it's like a never ending process, but it's actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing to, and when you think about like the results and just to kind of stay in, because at the end of the day, it's like, I want to be more than happy. I want to have joy. And like happy is based on what's happening around you. You know what I mean? And that's great. But it's kind of like, once those things aren't happening, then what are you left with?
Exactly.
So, and joy comes from the Father. And you know what I mean? It's just, and not to say that you're not going to have craziness that's going to go on, because trust me, you will. But just, what's that expression? Is like, 10% of life is what happens. 90% is how you react to it. Yep. So at the end of the day, it's like,
And I just wanted to also say that we can, because there was a time where I was dealing with depression and all kinds of terrible things going on in my life. And the more I learned about our brains and how our brains work, and how we can actually rewire our brains, and our brains have neuroplasticity, and we can actually shift. I'm not saying, okay, I know there's people that deeply struggle and are on medication. I'm not in any way questioning what you need to do. No. I'm just telling you from what I went through. I went through a lot of darkness. And between my faith in God and my prayer life, which was still going on, and starting to learn about how my brain works and how we can actually shift our brains. We can actually shift, just like we have a pattern that was set, that we were stuck in this way. We can slowly start to shift the dial so that now our new way of living becomes like that other way of thinking is like, we're just like, wow, like for me, I find it hard to even access what that was like to be stuck there. Wow. And it's just revolutionary. And so I totally understand the struggle. But I'm just here to say that it is completely possible to shift that, and to, with our thoughts, with our words, and being consistent with it, that becomes your new way of thinking and your new pattern. And now you have a groove that you've set. Just like if you keep walking down a path in the forest, you keep wearing that path down and you will create a path. But if you start a different path, you will have a whole new path, and that one will start to grow weeds over the old one, and now you have a new path.
Wow, that's good, Mo. That's good. At the end of the day, change the thermostat in your room. It's like you're responsible for changing that thermostat. But at the same time, and I've said it in a couple of other videos, might have even said it previously here, mind the company that you keep. It does affect this whole process. It affects it. It can affect it in a good way or a bad way. So just take inventory. Take inventory of your thoughts. Write them down, as Mo said, which is something I'm going to do, because I never did that. Just be honest. Write them down, and then, just also, if you have to, take inventory about the company that you keep. Yes. You know what I mean? And
I can say that was a big thing that played into how my whole life shifted.
Oh, right. Yeah. And it is funny, because it's like, I can even say, when I've made certain decisions in my life, when I've made certain decisions in my life, things shifted for the better. You know what I mean? So these are just some ideas that we have that could potentially, hopefully help you as well, because they did great things for us.
And I just want to throw in a little PS.
That's all right.
Things to do with the company you keep. Some people may be in situations where it's at the moment feels like it's not really, like there's no way to not be around that situation. Yeah. You may live with somebody or something like that. And this is why, again, we realize there are abusive situations. Yeah. There are situations that are there. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to
disclaimer. Yeah.
So I just want to throw that in there. But I will say that still, even then, if you can just keep feeding yourself with healthy relationships. The more healthy relationships that you start surrounding yourself with, the less you will tolerate anything that is not healthy. And also feed your mind with good things. Watch videos like this one. Watch things that are going to build you up. Watch things that are going to inspire you and encourage you and give you hope, rather than things that bring you down or make you feel like this is all that life is ever going to be. So.
And affirmations are really good as well. Like, I'm a really big fan of YouTube, obviously. Hi. And we're both big fans of YouTube, and we tend to, like, you know, call up affirmations and videos like that. They're really helpful. So,
they are.
You know, just things to, you know, more evidence and ideas for you guys to look into.
And we may do a video on affirmations, on like some that we use or that have been really helpful to us. So.
Yes. We have so many ideas.
Thank you for watching, for listening, and we're really glad you're here. Please like, subscribe, comment. It just really makes a huge difference.
Really
and even if it's just like, thanks, or something, just that we know you're there, it really helps us to just want to keep making more encouraging.
And also just to even give us a little testimony or a little story from you. That's also very encouraging as well.
Yes.
So we look forward to reading your comments. Until then, toodaloo. Bye, guys.